better. I'll just edit it out a little bit. We could have grabbed that before.
Do you even want it closer or like?
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think so I don't have to be so in your bubble. Like, obviously I have to be closer because we're talking, but I don't want to be like... Okay. That should work. It's kind of weird lighting, though.
Maybe
do... Oh, that's better.
Tilt it down like...
Yeah. No, that should be good.
Hopefully it'll focus on our faces rather than inside.
No, it should be good.
Yay.
Okay, so I'm taking over the first 30 seconds. Fine. Okay, so I don't know how to do this. I'll just include it now. Okay. Every time I'll like introduce myself, so if it gets sort of repetitive, it's just a practicing thing.
Sweet.
So there's that for you. Okay. Okay. So I'm Charity. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Great. Okay. Yeah. And can you remember me how to say your name again and how do you?
Yes. So I'm Sydney Bigler. You can just call me Sydney.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds great, Sydney. So today, before we got started into this session, I just wanted to go over a couple of things with you first, just so you know what the focus of today's meeting is and that you can feel oriented to that. I really just want to get to know you and see if there's anything that we can work on together. Also, this video will be recorded. It's for educational purposes. It will be used by my class, if that's okay with you. So
yep, that is fine.
It may be viewed, it might not. It's just for educational purposes only. Sweet. And then, as for confidentiality, everything you say will be held confidential, except obviously my class will see this.
Okay.
And we really just want to help you. So if there's any thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, we really just want to get you the help that you need, and we'll be able to do that for you, as well as if there's any children in your life that we end up talking about that are in need of help or they're in danger, I'll just want to reach out to someone and be able to get the help that they need so we can keep them safe. Okay. So, any questions about that or others or confidentially?
No, it all sounds pretty clear.
Okay, sounds great. So yeah, just let me know if along the way anything comes to your mind that you want to talk about or have questions or really anything like that. Feel free to just stop me and we'll talk about it.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. So how's your week been? What are you up to?
My week has been pretty good. I don't know, it's been like a good, I've been in a good mood. It's just like, even though it's cold, it's just been pretty productive so far. Even though it's only Tuesday, I feel like it's been pretty good. So yeah, things are going well. Yeah,
that's so good. I kind of just wanted to reiterate some things that we talked about last time and just follow up with that and see how things have been going. I know you talked about being close to your family, and I just wanted to see how things have been going within your family and how your relationships have been going.
Yeah, family honestly has been fantastic. I talk to them honestly pretty often, like honestly every day, every other day, whether that's like a quick phone call or long FaceTime or whatever. So that's all going really good. They're just the best, and they're just a good support, even though they're not physically here.
Yeah.
It's just, so it's going good.
That's so good. And remind me again, how big is your family and who is on it?
So I'd say, it's my parents, and then I have a younger brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fun. So just a family of 4.
Yes,
so
just
fun.
us 4. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So what was that like growing up with just one other sibling? How did you feel? Did you feel like it was fun? Do you feel like your parents were attentive to both of you equally? Or
it was honestly like so fun. I don't really know any different, so I'm not really like, I don't really know what it's like to grow up with a lot of siblings, but from what I do know, I like loved having just like one sibling. Like we were just best friends all growing up. Like we just did everything together, and it was just really nice to, I don't know, just to like have him around. It was super fun. We honestly sometimes I felt like we were the same age because we were just always like doing the same stuff. I felt like we always joked around that we were twins, but we're 3 years apart. So it was super fun.
That's great. I know I love having those sibling relationships. They're so powerful.
They are.
They can really just help us just excel at a lot of things, you know.
Totally.
How's that relationship shifted now that you are living further apart?
Yeah, so it kind of got, when I was a teenager later in high school, it kind of got kind of rocky because we're both starting, like I was like kind of in my teenage years, he was starting his teenage years, so it kind of got a little rocky, and we were just like basically pissed at each other all the time because we were like, I hate you, like we're having a hard time clicking. But now that I've left and like lived on my own for like 2 or 3 years now, it's just like gone back to normal. Which is kind of crazy because you'd think the distance would make us like grow apart, but honestly it's made us closer.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of, I think, both needed our space to kind of grow up and figure out our own lives, but we're still able to come back to each other and like talk and connect and just like FaceTime each other, and it's super fun.
That's so
we laugh a lot and it's good.
Yeah, that's so fun. Do you feel like you could kind of been able to continue that theme of having like lots of laughter in your home, whereas like that's kind of how it was growing up, right?
Yeah.
And
totally.
then how do you feel like that's translated into your living situation now?
Like kind of growing up in like what do you mean?
Like a more positive environment, like a happier home. Like how do you feel like that's helped your living arrangements now?
I feel like first of all it's like helped a lot. I think it has carried into my adult life. Kind of the environment, like the happy environment I grew up with, like the close unit, has made me want to seek for close connections, like whether that be in roommates, friends, classmates and stuff. So I'd say like it would, I'd strive for the same kind of, I guess, happiness, connection in my life now in college, like with my friends and stuff, that I had growing up.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
And then, again, just going back to our last meeting, we talked about how you were raised in a fairly religious family and the LDS culture. Do you feel like you've stayed pretty connected with that as you've moved out and lived on your own? Or do you still view yourself, like do you still identify with those beliefs? Or
yeah, I do. It's definitely so interesting growing up because you realize like, hey, if I don't want to do this, like I don't have to.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I think there was just something in me that I still wanted to be a part of that, but I had to figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like relying on my parents so much and their beliefs in the church. It was like, oh, I need to like, if I want to stay in this, like, I want to be able to make sure that's what I want, not just because that's what I was used to. So yeah, I have stayed, and I think it's been great to kind of, I think it's nice being in your young adulthood, attaching yourself to values and stuff that you like kind of want to follow. It kind of gives you a good guide. It's like a compass of like how you want to live your life. So it's helped me in that way, I'd say.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I love that you've been able to kind of find that path for yourself and be like, okay, do I really want this? What is helping me? What's not?
It's like helping with my goals and like what do I want for my future?
Yeah, for sure. What are some goals? Speaking of goals, what are some goals that you feel like you have for yourself or would like to achieve one day?
Yeah. So I say some of my short-term goals would be graduating college, and then getting into a master's program for therapy or social work, and then kind of more long-term would be I just want to like get married and have a family that is just like my own. Just like live I don't know, I don't feel like I need like this grand life. Like yes, I want to go and travel and like do these things, but honestly like my interpersonal connections that I'm gonna like develop one day with like a husband and stuff, like that's like a huge goal of mine, just having close like relationships.
Yeah.
And even with friends, like that as well.
No, I like how you were talking about how just so like what you're saying is that you feel so motivated and just like connected by these relationships that it really can help you really like go towards these goals and just feel more motivated.
Totally.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And how do you feel like these relationships have like pushed you to be a better person?
Oh my gosh, they're just like everything. I don't know. Like they are just like, I feel like they're just what make me me in some ways. Like they motivate me. They, I've kind of mentioned this before, but they're like my support.
Yeah.
And so without that support, I just think it would be so incredibly different. I would be so incredibly different. And I've always been, like, given such like unconditional love from people who are close to me.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because of that, I kind of grew to understand that skill and that trait that I want to be able to
Yeah.
like give that to others who I'm close with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just maybe who I am in some ways.
Yeah. That's so good. I know the people around us really have a big impact on
Yeah.
like who we are and what we stand for and just really like what we believe in. So it's super important that you've been able to develop those relationships
Yeah.
so far in your life, which is super good.
Yes.
So exciting. So are there like any struggles that you've been going through lately or anything that you feel like has been challenging at all?
Let's see. I think dating and that kind of aspect and just like having a crush and like all these things, like it's just hard to navigate that in young adulthood. It's not, I don't know, it kind of sounds like high school, like oh my gosh, I have a crush.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, I don't know, it can be kind of rough because, I don't know, we all want to be accepted and we all want to be, I guess, loved in the right way for the right reasons. So I'd say that. It's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, it's so messy and confusing.
Yeah.
And all of that.
Yeah, so it can kind of feel maybe like a little juvenile, a little
Yeah.
scary, right, going into these dating relationships.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know, it can be really hard to navigate, right, in this like stage of life and being able to, you know, find ways that you connect with these people, right?
Mhm.
And what are some ways that you feel like you want to improve, or what do you think are ways that maybe have made it more difficult at this stage of life?
In regards to like dating and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Or just like generally?
Just generally, either like making those decisions or
Ooh.
connecting or really anything.
First thing that came to my mind was just like self-acceptance
Yeah.
and learning to live and not be, I guess, shame, I think is a big thing.
Yeah.
Just not being so freaking hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Like shaming yourself for everything, every little thing you do. I just think
Yeah.
that is just something I'm definitely like trying to work on.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just like a general like self-acceptance, like this is
Yeah.
who I am. If no one else accepts me of that
Yeah.
or accepts me for who I am, but that also doesn't mean I can't grow and change.
Yeah.
It's just like learning to, I don't know, learning who you are
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure.
and not being ashamed of that.
Yeah, and do you feel like there's like a certain time or like situation where maybe these feelings of shame maybe pop up more for you, or is it kind of just like certain situations or maybe like certain times?
Let me think. I think it's more just like a general, I don't know, I think times when maybe I'm feeling stressed is when
Yeah.
it pops up more.
Yeah.
Feeling more anxious and things like that. Is kind of where I notice, like when I'm more exhausted, it's easier to be hard on myself
Yeah.
and feel like, I don't know, just down.
Yeah.
And so I'd say that's when.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe this comes in waves, like when it's coincides with maybe like your schoolwork or
Yeah.
your job, or do you feel like certain situations will push you to feel like more stressed or anxious than others?
Yeah, definitely school.
Yeah.
Maybe like, let's see. Yeah, I would say when I used to work, that's when I would really be exhausted. But
Yeah.
I don't really deal with that as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't work there anymore. But I'd say that if there's any kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I would just say life, just
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Life in itself just
Yeah,
can be stressful.
stuff that
right?
just like randomly comes up
pops
and
up,
you're
yeah.
like, okay, great.
Well, all right. You know.
Guess I have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And
Totally.
have you seen like play out throughout your life? Like, have you been able to see patterns of like, oh my gosh, that like really stressed me out? Or,
Yeah.
like, even just growing up, like maybe situations that you feel now looking back was like, oh hey, that's probably why I was so stressed, or maybe that's why I was so hard on myself.
Yeah.
You know.
That is a good question. I think it kind of goes back to I just wouldn't let go. Like,
Yeah.
I got so stressed because I was just so, like, when things wouldn't go, I think, my way or how I planned them to go,
Yeah.
that's when I would realize, like, I would be more stressed. But kind of just understanding that life is very much, like, it can be very unplanned. Like,
Yeah.
you can plan for things, but that doesn't mean it's going to go that
Yeah.
way. So I think back, like, growing up, and even still now, I have the tendency of, like, when things don't go according to plan, it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But
Yeah.
I've definitely grew to, like, be okay with that.
Yeah.
Totally.
How do you feel like you're able to get into that pattern of being like, you know what, if this is not, kind of letting go a little bit, and,
Mhm.
giving up some of that control, which can be obviously really hard, right?
Yeah.
What are some things that you feel like maybe helped you be able to do that?
I would say, looking at the big picture, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, Sydney, what is really,
Yeah.
like, this is okay. Like, you're fine. Looking at my life, like, I have so much in my life that is amazing. So much to be grateful for. Things like that. Mindfulness, just being mindful of what I'm feeling,
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Being in tune with, like, what's going on inside me and how is that, like,
yeah.
why do I feel this way? Why do I feel stressed?
Mhm.
And then kind of starting from, I don't know, and then going from there, I should say, and taking care of myself and whatever I
Yeah.
need.
For sure. So maybe it feels like a lot of self-reflection and time just kind of like meditating and being like
Mhm.
really focused on yourself, right?
Yeah.
And being able to like, okay, I can tell something's going on right now.
Yeah,
What's up?
totally.
Like trying to find some other reason, maybe not criticizing yourself but being like, okay, something's wrong,
Yes.
Yep. And just not being so harsh on yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you feel like that's something that you struggled with a lot more growing up, or do you feel like it still plays a pretty big role in your life, just wanting to have that control, or maybe feelings of like shame or guilt if something
Yeah.
doesn't go exactly how you would plan it?
Yeah,
or
I
it
feel
should
like, I wouldn't say it was, I definitely think it was in my life growing up, but I don't think it was to a point where it was, like, debilitating. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
a couple times, but overall, no. But I definitely have seen patterns of where I just want to be able to, like, I don't know, have that control, because it makes
Yeah.
me feel safe.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, kind of what I just yearn for in life, is just, like, security
Yeah.
and just wanting to, I don't know, feel safe, I guess. Not that I'm not safe.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but just,
No,
like,
it
feel
does.
comfortable, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's a huge need of ours. It's just human beings in
Yeah.
general. It's like that need to know, like, am I
Yeah.
safe? Am I secure? Am
Exactly.
I in a place where I know that, I'm familiar with, things
Yeah.
that help us move around it.
Yes.
So, like, we're familiar with the situation. Do you feel like you've grown up with, like, a sense of security and, like, with your family, or do you feel like maybe there were times where it was like, oh, okay, like, this was a bad situation, or maybe
Yeah.
just even now, like, being away from home, do you feel like that's affected how you feel
Yeah.
about, like,
It's-
your personal safety, or just, like, your home, or things like that?
Yeah, I think I've always felt a constant feeling of, like, security and safety. I think it kind of shifted a little bit when I moved out, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I just left everything I ever knew, everything that ever made me feel safe, and now I'm having to relearn that in a new way.
Yeah.
I'm having to, I guess, relearn how to, I don't know, yeah, so I guess when I moved out is when I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to
Yeah.
find that sense of, like,
Yeah.
feeling safe and, like, secure, but then I found it, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally, I feel like then, for sure. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
No, I love that you're able to show yourself, like, no, I can do this. I can go through this huge change, huge catalyst in my life that's going to change a lot of things, but still
Yeah.
come out in a way that will be positive for me.
Yeah.
And not trying to be like, I'm never going to feel safe here. This isn't good for me, and be able to shift it into, like, a more positive atmosphere for yourself.
Yeah.
Which is super important. Do you feel like that you've been able to deal with these things, or just, like, different struggles that have come up, and just sorry,
You're good.
second. Do you feel that, or I was just, like, you were talking a lot about being able to feel safe in this new environment. Do you feel like you entered a lot of unknowns when you came here, and it was kind of just, like, really overwhelming probably for your body, for your nervous system, just to be like, okay, like, what's going on here?
Yes.
You know?
Totally. Yeah, I experienced all those things for sure. Like I was in a totally new territory.
Yeah.
I was so out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that was super hard at times. I don't know, it's kind of weird because it kind of wasn't like a linear like path of like getting used to this. Like it's still really hard.
Yeah.
It's like ups and downs. Some days it's better, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Some months it's better, some months it's not.
Yeah.
So it really, I would totally say. But it's honestly been so, like I needed to do that. I think I didn't realize that until recent.
Yeah.
Is that I needed to, for me, move away from a sense of comfort to be able to realize that like I'm still okay. I'm like better than okay.
Yeah.
And if not thriving in certain ways. And so totally.
No,
But it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard.
No, I love that you've been able to see these challenges have really been help you to thrive in this new environment and be able to just really feel more successful. How do you feel like you've just been able to build those feelings of like, you know, I'm thriving here, I'm feeling really good about this? Like, how do you what do you feel like has brought you to that point? Like, does that make sense?
In a little bit, yeah. I would say finding friends here helped a lot. That was just so amazing. I feel like there's friends that like came in my life in a time I really needed it.
Yeah.
And so friends would be definitely one of them. It's just so cool, like making friends outside of a different state.
Yeah.
Someplace you've never like really. I mean, I haven't lived here, so I'm like.
Yeah.
But I'm still able to like go out and like, I don't know, make all these connections. So I'd say that. My support system at home, like my family, like they still supported me from a distance.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't ever see them. Like we go on trips every so often, so I kind of like looked forward to that. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. I just feel like I had this sense of like I'm gonna be fine. Like this sucks, but like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got to that point, to be honest. Like I think it was just like
sometimes
a
it just
miracle.
takes time, right?
Yeah,
like,
it really did.
You know, over time, like you go through these experiences, right? And you're able to kind of teach yourself, like, hey, like I know this is really scary, but it's okay. Like, I'm not in like fight or flight mode, and I'm not gonna die. Like I'm very much so safe.
Yes.
But
like once you're doing it, you're like, oh, okay, I'm still alive.
Yeah, like it's kind of like,
oh my gosh,
okay, like I'm not falling off the cliff. I'm not dying. Like, you're like, okay,
totally. And I
let's
also like found like new hobbies and things, like a new passion for things. Like I found a whole new passion for like being outdoors and hiking than I ever had. And so realizing that like, I don't know, it just built my confidence so much. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. Just built my confidence that I can live by myself in a way. Like I can do this. I mean, I'm not totally by myself, but like I'm definitely in a different state. So.
Yeah, for sure. It's different now. What do you feel like brought on that passion of like hiking and being in outdoors? Like what has sparked that for you and like kept it going when you've been here?
Oh, I love hiking. I've always kind of loved it, but not like I have in like last year. My dad and I, we love going on adventures and like road trips and stuff, and we'd always like find opportunities to hike and stuff. And I just grew to love it even more now that I'm in the mountains, and it became easier to access those kinds of things now that I'm in Utah rather than back in Texas. And so I was just like, this is amazing. Like I can do this whenever I want. So we would just always go and like hike and it's just so fun. Being able to like, I love hiking up. Like I love getting to the tops of like the top of things. And like seeing how far I've come and just like seeing how far you come. Like I'm the one that got me on the top of this mountain. Like no one else carried me. Like these were my own 2 legs. Walked me up here. As hard as it could have been, or as it was. Like I did it. So it's so. I love it so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it just feels like it brings this really big feeling of like accomplishment and like
Yes.
motivation for you just being
Yes,
like,
and it's
you know
like,
what, I did that.
yeah, I'm like, let's keep going. Like, what's the next hike gonna
Yeah.
be? Yeah. It's just like a high in a way when you're just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I did it, and then
Yeah.
it's just so beautiful too
Yeah.
that I'm in love with the like mountains and nature and everything. It's just like my safe space for sure.
Yeah.
It makes me very happy.
I think about that this has become like a safe space for you. And this time where
Yes.
there's been like a lot of turmoil and just like stress and learning about yourself, that you've been able to find a place where it's like, you know, I really connect
Yeah.
with this. This makes
It's
me
so
feel
true.
accomplished. Like I feel motivated. You know, I feel like you really can't take on the world. Like you're taking,
Yeah.
you know, you're doing this mountain, right, where it's maybe you'll run into some difficulties like you have in life, and there's like a very clear like parallel.
Yeah.
Like maybe halfway through the hike you're like, oh my gosh, it's really hard. Like
Yeah.
do I really want to keep going? Like, you know, but you know, you get to that end point, right, and it's just like this super good feeling.
Yeah, and I guess that would be like another reason, like how I'm, like, how did I get myself to this point? It would just be like finding things like that,
Yeah.
like hiking, just like, oh my gosh, it just
Yeah.
makes it great. It does, it really helps.
Do you feel like you've been able to find any other like safe places for yourself, you know, outside of hiking and nature, which obviously is a big one for you and you're
Yeah.
really passionate about, which is super amazing. But you feel like you've been able to find other places in your life where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a comfort zone for me
So
now.
I wouldn't say it's a place, but I'd say it's more like a feeling and like
Yeah.
a space for me is music.
Yeah.
That's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I've always related with music. It's been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And I just I just have a special feeling connection with it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, whenever I'm like feeling down or whenever I'm just like struggling with something, like music has always been there for me, my entire life. Like that's kind of something I was always kind of reflected on. Like
Yeah.
whenever I was kind of going through rough patches in high school or just like growing up in general, like music was always there for me.
Yeah.
And not saying my family wasn't, but like
Yeah, but it's a different
it
feeling.
was a different for sure. It's like, and I'm able to carry that same thing with me throughout
Yeah.
young adulthood, and it's just great. It's
Yeah.
it's such a comfort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. It can help you feel connected, and even with maybe you feel like maybe my mom or dad or like my best friend doesn't really understand how I'm feeling right now, like this
Mhm.
song does. And I
Yeah.
feel connected to this, and it makes me feel like, you know, I can get through this. And I'm
Yes.
not on my own, and
Yes.
there are people here to help me.
Yes, it
Yeah.
also helps like process what I'm feeling without even
Yeah.
realize what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, like this is what I'm feeling right now, and then the music it just puts feelings into words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
No, that is so cool. I love that. It's a really good way to be able to cope with these feelings that we've talked about today, about whether you're feeling like ashamed or guilty about something, or you know, feeling stressed about like yourself, or what if they, you know, going through what ifs, right? And you
Mhm.
know, all these things that we might think about, being able to have like these hiking in the
Mhm.
outdoors and music and all these things that
Yes.
you know are kind of like your safeguards, right? You
Yeah.
know, to like help you and feel like, you know what, we can do this.
Yeah.
Like we're not on my own. I mean, I'm gonna have these feelings again, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But do you feel like you really have leaned into finding ways to manage those feelings of, you know, and be able
Yeah.
to, you know, be like, you know, sometimes I'm gonna feel really guilty that I didn't do that
Yeah.
assignment, or I didn't go to whatever.
That's hard.
You know?
I'm still figuring that one out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's hard because I'm like, can be hard on myself, like Sydney. Like,
Yeah.
why didn't you just get that homework assignment done, like,
Yeah.
instead of procrastinating it?
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't know. I mean, I guess just being patient with myself, but I am not perfect at that, and I don't think I'll ever be.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, just realizing that, I don't know, just being, I don't know, just patience.
Yeah. No,
Patience
it's
with
good.
myself.
Patience is
I'm
super
still
hard.
figuring it out.
Yeah.
I really,
No,
yeah.
it really is hard. Do you feel like you've always struggled with like holding yourself to like a pretty high standard with school,
Yeah.
or, like education, or like extracurriculars?
Yeah, it's funny because in like high school, I wasn't really that involved. I kind of just like flew under the radar. I mean, I still
Yeah.
got good grades, but like I kind of just didn't really want. I was in the whole high school scene. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
on any sports teams or anything, so I
Yeah.
just like kind of just did my own thing. and I wasn't interested in that. So,
Yeah.
but even with that, like with school, whatever I was involved in, and like I had to be doing good.
Yeah.
Not the best, I'd say, because
Yeah.
I knew that like that's just unrealistic. But
yeah.
I wanted to be able to feel validated for myself, and
Yeah.
even honestly from like my others, like
Yeah.
my parents.
Exactly.
And it's so interesting because they never put pressure on me to like. They always told me, Sydney, just do your best. Yet
Yeah.
I'm like putting so much pressure on me, like I have to do perfect. Like
Yeah.
everything has to be perfect. But
yeah.
so I don't know where that came from. Like I
Yeah.
guess an inner thing
Yeah.
within myself that I definitely am trying to keep in check more.
Yeah.
I've just realized this so much. Like I
Yeah.
don't. It's definitely not the same as it used to be. I've gotten better at it, but it's
Yeah.
so present still.
Yeah.
Just that idea of, I guess, perfectionism.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it could be super hard, and I'd love to be able to like keep talking with you about this as
Yeah.
we keep meeting, and maybe finding ways that we can talk through it,
Mhm.
or just finding more options. Those feelings come up, being able to be like, okay, you know what, I'm feeling really hard on myself right now.
Yeah.
What do I want to do about it?
Yes.
Instead of just like feeling stuck in those feelings, right? It can be really hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would love to be able to like keep talking with you about that, and maybe we
Cool.
can go more into it next time.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank
Cindy.
you.
I'm so happy that I did to see you.
You too.
Okay.
Thank you.